Hey, what's going on? Nick here, getting back on this video tip. It's been a month or two, or something like that. Just been busy with some stuff and wanted to get back on here and do a live video. Um, got a basketball in my hand at the end of this video. I'm going to shoot, see if I can make it. You get to witness my skill or lack of skill, depending on how things go today. Um, I'm wearing one of my comics here. It's a shirt. It says there had to be a rap battle because they had beef between them, and it's a picture of a thing of wax paper and plastic, kind of going to battle with the freeze style broccoli and the hip hops in the background. Um, I actually sold one of those shirts 2 weeks ago. I think I've sold two of those, or three, including me. So I bought this one as well. But yeah, so I'm getting on here today. Kind of having one of those days where, like you have a subpar kind of feeling day, and then you go to bed and you wake up and you just generally feel better. So I'm kind of having one of those days where I'm waking up and generally feeling better and than I did yesterday. And kind of looking back on yesterday, I was like, oh, it's kind of like brain foggy or hazy or something. And today, so I wanted to kind of make a video. Actually, I'd already made a video, and then yesterday, and I watched it, and I wasn't really liking it. I felt like I was scattered or wasn't to the point enough, and for me. And so I was like, well, I'm gonna record another one. So that's what I'm doing here today. You didn't even know that, but I think it kind of taps into something I want to talk about today, and it's this kind of the topic is obligations, kind of saying no to certain obligations, and then real desire. Um, Even me making this video is kind of like, like there's this piece of me, and I imagine other people have this part of themselves, like to uphold their agreements with themselves and other people. Like even like having a job, right? You go to a job and the agreement is I show up on time. These days you give me money. Um, and so with myself, like when I do stuff or I make things, um, I want to feel like I'm being. Sometimes I feel like I want to be. I'm being productive by finishing things or bringing things to an end and then completing the cycle. And I've kind of learned more and more like to kind of be in the driver's seat of do I want to push this thing out or publish this thing or share this thing as it is, or do I want to hold back and wait? And I generally would have just used to just push everything out once it's done, but now I'm starting to have a little bit more of a sense of like what do I want inside of my creative process, like, and generally like today making this video was like I just want to feel a little bit more like I am making a point, I am in control of making the point. I know what I'm going to say, or generally what I'm going to say, even if I don't have a script or really what I'm going to talk about. But I know I'm going to be in the moment talking about what I want to talk about today, which is obligations and desire. And the thing that I want to kind of go back on is like this past month and a half. Just kind of highlight it for you. For me personally, I um, got injured. I had an injury, lower back, kind of like hip, and also was really busy. So just a little background, like for 5 years, I've done freelance work, and I also part time row Venetian gondolas 2 days a week, and that the gondola gig is like 10 hours a day, 10 hours a weekend or something like that. Occasionally do it more than that. But it's kind of complemented the freelance work I do in that it's I get to go out and be social. It's a change of my kind of brain. Instead of doing solo work, it's with meet a lot of people. I sing songs, I get exercise and stuff like that. Um, but I've done it for 5 years straight, like usually every weekend. So there's not really I guess you'd say like a built-in break with that work, and that I think it basically that combined with just I was doing an event about a month ago. a month and a half ago. I did another event, so had 2 of these event illustration gigs I do, and my body's like I'm kneeling, I'm standing, I'm moving around, and then I did some like stone carry, I'm lifting weights, and I think all this kind of just stress on the body just was like boom, there goes the injury. And then while I got the injury, I had to continue to row the boats on the weekend. So I would get out there. So it was like I would start to recover in the week. Then I'd head out on the weekend, and it was almost like I re aggravated it, and the injury wasn't getting any rest. And so I had one day, it's about almost 3 weeks ago at this point, where my body just, or my back just like seized up, and it was like, you ain't working. And I basically canceled my weekend of work, and then I canceled the next weekend, which was this past one. And I'm gonna go do it one day this weekend, and then. But the good thing about all that is that it really all the space and the injury is that it also kind of showed me like that there's limits to how much I can put my body under. If I'm just being realistic. And there's also like, like there's also, it's also clear to me like it was time for me to make a personal change in when it comes to my agreements or the obligations I have when it comes to like doing that type of work. So I'm kind of this space and this time, this rest has got what I've gotten clear on is like, and I know is that like I'm going to be changing my relationship to that. It's either going to be reduced and or I'll just go on call slash just like maybe a few times a year or something like that, or I don't quite know yet, but it's definitely heading that direction. And it feels like the difference, I guess the thing is like in the past I knew like the past like 5 years, like probably like 4.5, I've known that like this is what I want to do in relation to my freelance work. Like I want to do something different than just doing these client gigs, and I want to have a job a couple of days a week doing this. And there's good reasons for that. Like I was building the foundation of my freelance stuff, kind of learning, getting deeper into all of that, but also doing a lot of personal evolution stuff, getting kind of like self-knowledge based stuff. And I could have gone full-time artist a lot faster if that was just the goal, right? If the goal was just to do art and make money, but it wasn't that. The goal for me has been kind of like taking the route of truth, like the scenic route, doing what I feel is true along the way, and respecting the timing things take, and not trying to reach some kind of fantasy end goal where everything becomes okay because I'm an entrepreneur or I'm making money full time with the art and all that. Like, so yeah, that's kind of like my general view is that I'm not opposed to doing a full time entrepreneurial career or having jobs. It's just a matter of like what else is in the picture, like because it's not just like that's just one thing, right? Like or like money is just one thing. Like what else is in the picture of my life or your life, and how does it all kind of fit together? How's the puzzle fit together? And I think what's happening now in my own personal evolution is this kind of doing this my side gig 2 days a week is starting to feel restrictive, and like it's like I'm trapped. And so that's kind of like a signal to me that it's time to kind of grow and evolve into another area, and that could be like being full time, like meaning no side work, doing my animated video and event illustration, or it could be doing something else. But it's a change, right? A change is happening, and so I'm pretty excited about that. Just because it can get you do something for a long time, it gets boring, and but the good thing is like it doesn't feel like it was like premature or just trying to prove that I could like make it on my own, because I know I could have, but there was also this like a bunch of personal programming around obligations and rules and all this. And that kind of brings me to the next piece of what I want to talk about, and it's like this thing about like our world an obligation. And it's that, if you look around, like our world is built on obligation. Like, just think about, like, we have cars, we got to get licenses, we got to pay for renewal fees, and then we got to get our licenses renewed. And it's all like, I have a friend who talks about the DMV occasionally, so it just came to my mind. But she talks about it. But it was just, it's just like, so it's like, I feel like if you lived in a world without these like kind of rules or regulations, it would just be like you have a car and you can maybe get a license and you pay a one-time fee or something to, and maybe, or maybe not even pay a fee. I don't know. It's just like a bunch of made up stuff, right? And people just can continue to kind of do the thing because we want to continue to participate and have the ability to do things. But it's like all those back end obligations are all things people just make up. And I feel like, I mean, my adult life, other people's adult lives, like we just basically live inside of obligations, aka like things we don't really want to do, but we do because there's something else we want. Um, and Yeah, so like a lot of my personal kind of journey or evolution through my whole life has been like learning how to kind of push back and let go of certain obligations, things I think I need to do or should do or have to do, all those have tos. And um, yeah, I mean, I feel like I've always had kind of a natural inclination for that as well. Like, for example, like I've never had a full time job. I've always figured out how to do part time work, or if I do work full time hours, it's something I really want to be doing, like my freelance work. So I mean, I work full time and doing that, and it doesn't feel like I'm trapped. So as long as I'm feeling free and I want to do it, then it feels like I'm, you know, um, not obligated. And so yeah, so I feel like the kind of like with the gondola change, it feels kind of like I did want at one time want to do that, and then it's every weekend, and now it's like I don't want to do that anymore, and so it's kind of changed the structure to something I want, and I'll figure that out. But yeah, and so there's this kind of like, so I guess on the obligation piece, continue to talk about that, about everything's made up and we just kind of go along with stuff. Like, I mean, the thing is, like, we don't have to do that at all. Like, and the consequences aren't, um there can be consequences, like if I don't pay rent, for example, for a long amount of time, then I'm surely gonna not be living here. But also there's also, like where I live, like there's protections in place and you could not pay rent. And it's not something I'm going to do, but I'm just saying like the consequences to saying no to certain obligations, or like not having a payment on time, or even everything falling apart. I mean, like financially for people, like people declare bankruptcy all the time, and because they can't keep up, and it's not like they go to jail and forever and they can't move and never have options again. It's just, so it's all like there's kind of limits to the reality of the obligations put on us, right? Like it's not, short of being someone coming to kill you, maybe imprisoning you, or just you just generally being limited. But you work with those limits. You adjust to all the realities you're in. It's not real. So I kind of just want to say that first, like, um, for me personally, like what I'm feeling is that like, oh, it's like that piece of like, well, there's a voice of, well, yeah, but you got to have all this extra cash as you build up your extra side cash as you build it, so you can pay all your bills and your debts. And what happens if you're not able to build up your clients work, and you're not able to make enough money, and I think it's kind of like that voice. And then there's another piece of me that comes in that's makes it interesting and unique, and it's that like I'm not like a hard charging, like I'm gonna go out there and hunt down my work and make my money so that I can, you know, validate myself. Like I'm still gonna do what I want, like as much as I think I want, as much as I can, right? Like I'm not gonna like try to like chase down other humans to give me money they don't want to give me. Like so like there's a piece of it, it's like I really trust the timing of like what I say is God, God's timing, not really just God, but like the autonomous God that's just blankets the whole world and If you believe in God, and if not, then that's cool. But for me, like, it's just like, yeah, God's like a support system, and it's not and inside that, like, in my connection to my intuition or soul, like, I don't, when I kind of am silent with myself or check in with myself, I don't ever hear this command, like, you must go out and scratch and fight for your survival. And it's like, I don't ever really think I've had to do that. Like, I feel like it's all worked out. And so that kind of informs my desire, what I'll call real desire. And it's not like so the program desire would be like something like, I really believe in all the rules of the world. Like, I believe that if you're not 100% responsible, you're not productive all the time, if you're not going out and chasing your money and making everything that is super, super, like you're stocking up for a collapse or something, then it's just not going to work out. Like that's kind of like the what I feel or would call like someone that's overly obligated, uh, kind of programmed. It's like a good responsible person. Like, and there's nothing wrong with like being responsible. What I think is real responsibility is knowing yourself, and then from there being able to maneuver things. It's not being the best rule follower. Now, granted, some people they're just gonna follow rules. That's what they do, and that's what they do best, and that's works for them. But like, not for me. Like, I'm not somebody that's gonna 100% adhere to the rules. Like, I respect some and like some, but some I don't. The ones I'm going to say no to and push up against, or not let it bother me, then I won't. Um, so yeah, so I think kind of like as it applies to that, I feel like in my own intuitive connection, I feel like I've got enough trust in myself, in God, and kind of what I kind of the sense of like I feel solid to pressures and obligations that I know aren't real. The combination of that, I feel like has me feel excited about, um, trying to build something, trying to make something creative, from a place of true desire and like real desire and really what I want to do. And so that's kind of like where I feel like I'm at in my kind of route in the scenic route. This the route that Nick sees, um, is I'm kind of in that place where it's like it's time for me to, um, just do what I want to do and figure out how to make it work. Um, and I have been doing that, but it's like another layer up. It's like I've done some version of that, but it's like, all right, now you're gonna do more. And yeah, I think I'm wondering if there's anything else for me to say around that. It feels to the point, so I don't think I have anything. I think I explained everything what I wanted to explain today. Just kind of checking in real quick and seeing. Yeah, so I guess just gonna come back to the general, like, saying no to the obligations and doing the true desire. Um, yeah, and I guess maybe what I'll kind of close with on some of that and that true desire piece. It feels like it's been a process, right? And then it changes. The desires change, and then it's adapting to the change, being able to go with the change, but also trusting the time sometimes that some things sometimes take. And I know in intuition is very much based on time and being precision. And it's like if I would have left my part-time thing, the 2 day a week thing, like a year and a half ago, when I had these feelings come up that were like, oh, I want to go, and like it wasn't there wouldn't have been anything to kind of come into, like, so it feels like because of being knowing myself, the precision and the timing, like there's something here, so it's like actually happening in my reality. And I feel like that's a good distinction between like kind of what you'll hear in like personal development is like you will chart a course. You're in point A, you're trying to get B, try to get to B as fast as you can. And sometimes that's definitely what needs to be done, but I think that in these kind of larger life rhythms or like paths or kind of getting to know yourself, it doesn't really occur to me like that. It kind of occurs as like, yeah, you want those things, and but like you also can't sacrifice your way to it. Like you've got to travel the whole A to B path, which may not be linear, like in the personal development realm. It may be scenic. It's going to go up and down and around, and you got to stay with yourself and what's true the whole time, all the way to that next thing. And by that time, it may not even be what you wanted or thought it was, but at least you've honored and stayed true to yourself along the way, and so you haven't lost or done something and you get there and you're like, oh, I hate this, I don't like this. Anyway, so that's just to kind of wrap the bow up. If any general encouragement I would give is, yeah, think about the obligation thing. Think about how it's not real. If there's anything there for you to check in about when it comes to challenging something, so be it, but no pressure. Um, yeah, it feels like it really unfolds in its own time when you start kind of trusting yourself, trusting something bigger, listening to the intelligence of life. And yeah, I think I like this video better than I did the one yesterday. It felt a little more organic. Like I don't really have any notes for it, but because I did the video yesterday, I kind of know what I talked about. And now it brings me to the point where all I can do is shoot a basketball. And yesterday's mock video I did was terrible. I hope I don't shoot it as bad as I did yesterday. So let's do this. But I can't. The thing is like I can't get up and move. I gotta sit here. So here we go. Closer, but still terrible. Oh well. All right. Thanks for watching. Have a good one.